I have clicked the record button. Asui, huh? Hit me with
the queen of set one.
The queen of set one. Hit me with a pitch.
So, whenever I was looking at things, the two kind of symbols that I've settled on at the end of set two metas, I've been playing a lot of Void to prep for set three. I've also been playing a lot of Water. And one of the most interesting Water cards to me is Frozen Slash. So, I thought, who other than Todoroki 2, obviously, which is like the guy he's kind of made for?
Right.
Who else can utilize this, give it a speed bonus, give it a damage bonus, and then just string out with a bunch of Frozen Slashes and like some other things kicked in there?
Mm-hmm.
And since it's a range, Asui gives it the 2 speed. So then you just have to find something else to give it the damage. And luckily, Water got basic training and prone to dry eyes.
Prone is fucked up.
And first villain encounter. So there's guaranteed ways to get damage onto Frozen Slash.
That's really
So the whole idea of the deck is just you build your foundation base. Since you're Water, you don't die until you have the perfect grip of attacks. And then you just Frozen Slash as many times as you need to. Put those next 2/2 stats on something really big, like a Tongue Whip or a Frigid Heat Wave. And just extend. You have a really long string of Water attacks.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Next deck doctor. I'm just kidding. No, I think that's a really good good thing. I said it before on stream, and I gotta repeat myself. I think this card is like. This is a kind of a version of a card that's already existed in Standard before, that saw a lot of play in the format very similar to the one that we have now, and so like the fact that like we have access to it again, but I think that the quality of like it has the range, it has better keywords, right? I think it just had kick on it before, and there weren't like packages for these for these keywords, but like. This card having the range keyword on it is actually insane. It's very, very good.
Yeah, it's sick.
I am trying to look and see what else matters. Okay. I don't hate this card. Classmate introductions at a 1-up. That's so interesting.
Yeah, more ways to get the damage, right? Because if it's a first attack, you guarantee get the damage. And I didn't want to run like 4 Prime to Dry Eyes.
Right.
That one specific 3-diff.
Couldn't help but notice you don't have Frog Lashing and Amphibious in your deck. Any particular reason, or you just don't want to win the game?
You know, if I was playing Standard, I would, truly.
I've never even heard of Universes. Anywho, I've added a couple cards to the sideboard. There's not a ton that we can talk about, because I think like you've got a like really solid concept here, and I think it just needs to be... Have you played with this deck at all, first and foremost?
I have not played with this deck, no.
Okay, so what's the block zone on it? It's too high?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. First and foremost, the thing to look at, how do you feel about Flame Scourger?
I feel like late in your string, if, you know, you're throwing so many attacks that they have to block them,
right?
Throwing a 6 mid for 6 that also stuns 1 super late, I think is really good. Especially since she doesn't have Frog Lashing anymore. So you really need to have things that have good damage.
Sure.
I think this card's like super dead early.
Yeah.
But it's really good late, you know?
I guess the only replacement is like Ice Storm, right? Just to try and stay defensive so that you are allowed to play to play late, right? Because like this card doesn't actually do anything on defense. It's just a 2 mid block, whereas this is a 2 mid block that can't be blocked by attacks, but then like how do you get the damage on it? Blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
Unpopular opinion. I think this card's nuts and Asui. Actually,
Really?
this is the way that you get a card out of my opponent's hand. Right? It's 7 damage off the bat. You give it the 2 speeds, so it's a 4 mid for 7 on a 5 diff that you just like re-ready back up your characters. You got the stun 1, so your next range or stun attack gets the 2 damage.
Sure.
And then our combo just starts. We just pop off, right? So this is 7 damage on the front as opposed to 6 damage at the back. This is also a 4 diff. This has to be your opener, right? Because we don't want to play this as a 6.
Right. This one has to be the start, while Flame has to be the end.
Right. So like, there's your whatever. I'm gonna look at your block zones just to look. Right, we've got 2 and 4, 2 and 3, and then a lot of mids. How many cards is the deck? 64 with only 20 attacks is kind of low. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I was trying to cut down the foundation base a little bit.
Yeah.
Try and pick and choose which ones are the best to keep.
Right. Oh, I'm down to cut some stuff because I think you got some chaff in here for sure.
Okay. Yeah. That was my main purpose in this, is trying to cut down the foundation base and maybe clean up the attack lineup to make it like flow a little bit better.
Sure. I think you should try this first. The biggest thing that I'm nervous about is like, you don't have frog kicks, but with face shield running around and this being like the most prime face shield target of all time. Like if you fight a deck with face shield, this is just the thing you face shield, right? As soon as you face shield this, the game's over. Like your turn's over. Excuse me. Just doesn't work.
Fair.
So like instantly, let's look at it. Right? What's this number trying to be?
Trying to get down to maybe 60, 62 at the most.
62 at the most. I love that. Dropping from above. What's going on here?
Dropping from above, again, it's more of that, like, if I don't see any other thing that gives damage, at least I have dropping for above to give Frozen /2 damage, right? And then, if the first attack I played this turn was not blocked, you can also give 2 damage to it, or you can also give 1 damage to it later.
Okay, I think that's fair. Classmates.
Guaranteed damage, but honestly, I could take it or leave it. It really depends. If I can cut the deck down, I'm perfectly okay with getting rid of it.
Acrobatic.
I really just like acrobatic as a block, and then on defense, it's also good. I kind of want a lot of spam in this deck just to make sure I can build like 5 on my first turn, and then if I had to build again on my second turn, I can build a lot too.
Yeah. I think that of your 0 diffs, obviously this is the weakest one, right?
Fair.
You never want to use the destroy ability because just writing your character is just better, right? Because you get to keep the resource and it does the same thing of, instead of this one getting -1 speed, you have 1 extra resource, right? So like, I feel like you actually just get to get rid of this card, just cut it all together, and then like your number just like goes down, right? We're at 60 now, right? And your blocks didn't change at all.
True.
I love the 1 nullify. I don't think you need to change it. I think you also just keep 1+ ultra as opposed to the 2. If we're making cuts, right? Your ability to get momentum is tough, and this card's half dead then, and I think that you just slide the other one if you need to. Next format feels very mid-focused, but I think that's actually a meme. I think a lot of the mid attacks are just not going to be played, or if they are being played, they're not plus ultra worthy. There's only a couple that are plus ultra worthy.
Yeah, I'm just definitely terrified of being blown out by some of the really strong mid attacks.
Yeah.
Like the Kendo one, or
Focus Punch is very, very good, right?
Yeah,
or
Focus Punch, or Hulking Grimace. Like, I just don't want to sit here and eat 10.
I totally agree with you. Yeah. Like it's going to be good. I just think with things like tape and surviving and like the ability to, I don't know, sticky balls is like a nuts card versus those decks, right? Like I think you have tools to survive that I don't think having minus, like, this card, just like half of this card's text is pretty much just dead in your character. It just doesn't work.
Right.
Yeah.
I can see that. Yeah.
We're at 59. How much lower can I go? How much lower do you want to go? That's the question. You want to put cards back in?
Lowest I can go is probably 58 is where I'd be the most comfortable. Usually my deck building ends around like 60.
Let's talk about the options that we're leaving on the table then. Okay, now that we're done cutting, right?
Okay.
First and foremost, think fast. I think that this card is a better version of the classmate introductions because it is playable on every single card, and you don't mind committing the resources because you're not going to be committing them very much to play your attacks anyways, and then you get to zone overload. This is now a low. This is now a low.
Yeah.
This is now a low. This is always a low. You know what I'm saying? So like I am down and it gets the 1/1, right? Like it gets it, and then you could like make this low and then ride the stats for as long as you can run it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have to be the first card; it gets to be whatever card. All for the low cost of commit one foundation and make this a harder zone to block. Creepy's not in your deck. Probably should exist in your sideboard. Obviously not very good in the mirror match, but pretty good in pretty much every other sense of the word. Especially with being able to re-ready it back up with Frog Kick. Irrefutable needs to be in your sideboard. It's got to be. It just absolutely has to be. You're not allowed to not play this card because of just like how prevalent these three symbols are.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So if you're playing this card and you're fighting the mirror match and you don't have this card, the best card that you have is sealed, and you're not allowed to. You can't fight it back, right? Self-assured to draw. Every single water range deck should probably be playing this at a 1 of, because the biggest thing that the water decks need is draw power. But we have it now with exclamation, and so maybe you don't need it. But I would put this is on the list for like we should think about it, right?
Yeah, it's hard consideration. I feel like self-assured feels like really greedy a lot of the times, especially because it's a 4 check.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to like string my combos, which is why like I just include Face Shield and I decide to sideboard Wall Cling if I really need the extra throw hate.
This card, although like the thing about this card is it is one of the absolute best 2/4/3 high blocks to have on board. It's one of the strongest, right? Just being able to just perfect block one thing a turn is like not fair. Like it's very good, and at the very least you can just flip it to rear rid of your character and feel fine.
Yeah. Okay.
All in all, though, I like what we got going on. The other cuts that we could maybe see is like we could take Face Shield down to a 2 of. We could take Graceful Maneuvers out of the deck altogether and try other. Like we could take out Graceful Maneuvers and put in double Creepy and see what happens, right? We could take out. I love Frozen. I don't think we're allowed to do that. I'm trying to find room for Irrefutable, but it might just be a sideboarded card. Just because like we're trying to force this thing to happen. But I think that you're gonna find that this is easier to trigger than you think, especially with things like First Villain Encounter, right? First Villain's just gonna make it work, and you're just gonna kill people with it.
Yeah, like I think conceptually it's not too bad. It's just I feel like I really need to see the damage, right? Because I have the speed on my face.
Yeah. Well, this is +4/+2 on every attack that you do, which means that like you're guaranteeing the hit, and you're stringing more things later, right? Imagine giving this thing +2/+2. That's fucked. That's so crazy.
Yeah, it's the combo deck, right? Like I just want to do nothing but string out with this deck.
I think the other thing that you're going to find is you actually want this to be at a 4 of. Actually.
Really?
Yeah, just because of this card. Think about how good Passing the Torch is in Asui, and this is your Passing the Torch.
Yeah.
Nobody ever Passing the Torches to draw the 2 cards. They only draw to draw the 1. And so they just like, my character's committed, I draw my 1 card, I'll flip this card, I'll ready my character. Oh, I have an extra foundation, I'll discard it for prone. Okay, now it's getting the stats. Alright, we're off to the races. I drew my extra card. I got rid of a cringe foundation off the top of my deck, or out of my hand, and I'm just gonna try and beat your ass.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I didn't really think about using exhausted offensively.
We're gonna put it up to a 3, actually.
Okay.
I think that's gonna put us back to our 60 count, right? Our block
Mm-hmm.
zones are fine. They're fine. Yeah. I'm here for it.
Yeah, I think this looks much better. I'm still iffy on graceful maneuvers. Then I look at everything else more. Maybe I do just take it out entirely.
I'm not a big graceful fan, personally, especially because you have no stuffing on defense besides sticky balls, right?
Well, graceful is graceful everyone in
Your pool.
Yeah, it's everyone in my pool.
Yeah. You don't have things like you don't have a uppercut, right? I think graceful is like insane with uppercut, and I think it's like mid everywhere else.
That's
graceful
fair.
says that the detriment of uppercut doesn't exist.
Yeah,
especially with things like struggling, right?
Yeah, I was just thinking more of like if I am forced to block with an attack because I have to, then I can graceful maneuvers to give it the extra minus speed because the attack's now in the card pool, and then I can commit my character to kick it from the card pool.
That's fair.
So essentially, I'm giving it -4 speed with 1 graceful, but I don't know how necessary the -4 speed is going into this next meta.
Nobody does.
I feel like there may... Yeah, that's the weird thing. I feel like this is one of the cards that, like, depending on how the meta shifts, right?
Yeah.
This is what goes first. Like, if I'm expecting, like, a heavy Kirishima 2 meta, then I don't think I need -4 speed.
Maybe. The Earth Symbol got an absolute assload of speed. And so, like, I think the days of slow speed Kirishima decks is over. I don't think that's a thing that you get to have anymore. The Earth Symbol is going to swing just as fast as everybody else now. It gets to play the speed game.
True. Yeah. I guess we'll see. I'll run it like this with it there. If I feel like I'm not utilizing it enough, I'll switch over to some of the other 2 diffs.
For sure.
Like creepy or self-assured.
I agree. Now that I've thought about it more, I think that the Frozen Slash into Scourger is actually better than the Tape Lash, just because of how many ways that we have to activate Slash. I think giving this thing +2/+2 is better than like having like if we've got a Lash into Slash, that's lame. If we've got Tape into Frozen, it is worse than Frozen into Flame. If that makes sense.
Yeah, because Frozen's giving it... Because with Frozen and my character, and if they're committed, then that's, what, 4/4? Or 4/5?
4/5.
So it's 8 mid for 8.
Yeah. On a 4-diff? I guess.
On a 4-diff with stun 1 sounds pretty good.
I guess. Yeah, this is probably where I would start with it. Actually, I think this is a good starting point. Yeah, big. Just look at these cards in the sideboard and see if you can and feel like fitting them in. I don't think we're just gonna take this out of the sideboard. I just don't think you need to look at it. But like, think fast. If you're missing more foundations, just does that job of the classmate introductions, just to get this thing online. It's like another copy of First Villain Encounter that does something slightly different. You know.
Yeah.
Zone Overload versus Deadlock Threat. Yeah. Final thoughts?
Yeah, I think this is good. I don't think it got rid of, like, I don't think it hurt the consistency of the deck, because I'm looking at the whatchamacallem stat, the deck stability, and it's like right around the number that I like to see whenever I deck build.
Yeah.
So
1.85 is a classic deck stability number. It's like really good, and I definitely know what that number means.
Yeah, like I feel like that's a good number in this 7-hander. I feel like with the number of cards that I have a lot of options as well. So yeah, I'm digging this.
Yeah, It's a good number. And just for everybody at home, like, you want that number to be higher or lower? Like
you want it to be higher. The simple math is that it breaks down like your difficulty over your check number. So it's like your KD, right? The higher it is, the better it is. Because it means more often you're going to be checking either on the number or past it.
Right. And you don't think that this number gets thrown out the window whenever you've got a dumb bitch character who just ignores progressive difficulty for the entire turn?
To be fair, I want my dumb bitch character to fucking check all fives.
Hey, there it is. Yeah, I think this is a perfect place to be, man. I'm into it.
Yeah, I'm digging it. What do you? Well, okay. One thing I got a question.
Yeah, please.
What do you think about? Because I didn't include them. What do you think about Rescue Completed? And what do you think about Sports Festival Stadium?
Sports Festival Stadium is gonna get you killed, first and foremost. I think it's a sideboard card whenever you fight the face shield decks. And then Rescue Completed is really good on defense if you feel like you need it. Mainboard it, right? This is a kill you card, 3 diff. This is a I don't die card, 3 diff, right? Beautiful. Just trade these out, right? Maybe the answer is you sideboard this. And if your opponent is trying to kill you, you are happy you played the Rescue Completed. If you're having a hard time killing your opponent, then this is the answer, right?
Yeah.
I don't want this versus Tokoyami. I want this versus Tokoyami. I don't want this versus Momo. I want this versus Momo. Right?
Yeah, that's generally how I felt about it as well, but I didn't know if you had some more insight since you play the card a lot more than I do.
I mean, this card is a totally fair card under the water and air symbol. It is a not fair card under the life symbol. And so like it is a card that you're allowed to like leave on the cutting room floor on water and air, right? You're not allowed to under life because it's actually too good. Specific, like mainly in Momo, right?
Right. Okay.
Yeah. You don't get to destroy it with release, right? The card that you committed. You don't get to do that. All you get to do is commit your character to make it happen. Right? That's where you get to cheat. But you get to do that on all your symbols. Doesn't matter.
True.
No.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Oh, well, I guess, yeah, you can make your character. But yeah, I think it's just better sideboard. I think, honestly, going into the format, in quotation marks, it's probably better just to be aggressive and in my opponent's face than take a initially defensive, like, game 1. Maybe.
We'll have to see. I mean, that's testing, right? But I think this is a good spot to start. Excuse me.
Yeah, I agree too.
All right, man. Let me shoot you the list and we'll get you out of here, okay?
All right, sounds good. Thank you, bud.
Thank you. We'll catch you.
All right.